And to look a lot like Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's another live edition of the Highbury Squad, one of our favourites in the house with us tonight. Here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, everyone. We know many of you will probably be hanging out with family and listening to this on replay, getting ready for the holiday season. We already have sensible Harry Potter in the house. But before we get to Harry, my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, welcome to the last show before Christmas Day. At ease, everybody, and let's do it. Big Harry in the house.
Welcome, Harry, my Greek brother from another Greek mother. And I didn't even ask him to wear a hat, and he wore it. But there might be some vanity involved in this. Is there? Just a tiny bit?
Yeah, as I was saying to you guys off air, I tried to tame the hair, and it's not happening today. And it's just too much effort. And I thought, let me chuck a hat on. Got a few caps lying about for when I do streams and my hair's a mess. And then I spotted the Christmas hat and I thought, oh, come on, got to stick it on.
I love it. Love the Christmas hat. Good evening to all the usual suspects in the house. Welcome, everyone, on this Christmas week. We hope you're all happy, safe, fun, and healthy. We know it's not easy times for all of us. But you know what? As long as we have each other and we have a little bit of football talk, that's all that matters. And here they are. Oisin, Sensible Harry, Ask Harry Potter. How many times do you get the Harry Potter thing, Harry?
I get that a lot. I get You're a Wizard, Harry, a lot. And if I wear glasses, which I normally do, or I do quite a bit, then it does. It increases. The Harry Potter talk increases.
And look, I'll change your nose. Greek hair, you're going to need a bigger comb. Like, hello. So I was going to wait until a few other squaddies join us before I reveal the true genius behind my Santa hat. Okay. So wait for that one. Thanks for everyone who's joining us. We hope you're having a good time so far. By the way, God bless the Queen. She's a gooner.
Queen's a gooner. Love it.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. She's a gooner.
Yeah, she's a gooner. She and Harry are gooners. William's a Villa fan.
Yeah.
So yeah. And by the way, don't forget to go to footballprizes.co.uk. Check this out. Future Arsenal legend Gabriel Martinelli signed and framed Arsenal shirt. Kev, I know it's against the rules, but I'm thinking about entering this one. I really am. I want it.
Well, just get Jags to buy your tickets. That gives you a better chance.
Yeah, because he won the Dennis Bergkamp shirt. I mean, look at him. He's all over everything.
I tell you what, those kids are happy kids, man. Love it.
How much Arsenal memorabilia have his kids inherited already? Harry, he wins. He's the lucky. I say, if I'm on a flight and it goes down, I want to be. Jax is the black box recorder. I want to be next to Jags because if a flight goes down, he's the one that's going to survive. I want to be sitting next to him. It's insane. He wins everything.
He's got a magic touch. He's got the magic touch.
He does. A bit like Dennis Bergkamp used to have. And hopefully the new likes of Gabby and Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe. Let's not forget the geniuses and the beauties of the Arsenal football season so far. This year, it's been amazing. Come on. Who doesn't want a puppy for Christmas?
I don't know. I prefer the shirt.
I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't. You can keep the puppy.
Serious. What? Are you... Kev, Vinny just heard what you said.
So? Vinny could hear what I said. You said, who don't want a puppy for Christmas? And I definitely don't want one.
I think this shirt might be under the tree for me, by the way. This one. This is class,
now
isn't
you're
it?
talking. Now you're...
Yeah.
Oh, you're going back to the old school. I remember, Harry, Sophie was showing photos of me and Righty and the boys modeling the gear like this, laughing at us. Now, look.
It's all the retro stuff's coming back.
It's all the retro stuff, you see. All the retro stuff.
You mean these two naughty boys?
Oh, that
hey,
Tash
by
Casey,
the way, I done a show with Righty today on Premier League PLP TV, and we were covering remember the Swindon game, Boxing Day.
Oh, yes.
Where I got a hat trick and he scored from like 40 yards. We were covering that on the show. It was good. It was good fun.
How is he? How's he doing?
He's good. He's good. Yeah. Well, he's busy, and he's got a TV show now. He's got a game show and stuff. And obviously, with all his media commitments, he's busy, but he was in good spirits.
How old is this swag, Kev? Harry, look at this.
I love that.
Hey, what's so funny? Hey,
I love it. It's like the old Crystal Palace Peru shirt.
That was that hairstyle, man, was the rage back then. I tell you, that was my school team, Henry Fulton School, Clapham Common. Oh, we were a good side. We were a good team.
What about this hairstyle? How many Arsenal players did you actually get to wear this wig? Because we've seen it here and we've seen it here, Kev. I mean, it's just
it travelled well. Put it that way. It travelled well. It liked a flight. It did.
Kev, can I just say, because today's freestyle, I love Harry. Look how young Ian looks here. He looks like Kev's got all the swag going on. Look at the waistcoat. He's holding himself. And then even in this, Kev's teaching him about the leather,
those are Matrix jackets, aren't they?
Look at that.
You know that, Harry. You know it's the Matrix, man. Before the Matrix.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You was ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve, mate.
And where was the tash that you said, Harry? Was it?
I think it was the one before. That's the one. Look at that. That's a quality tash case. Yeah. You've got to bring that back.
It's a nice little tash, man. It's a nice little tash.
How about this is our favorite picture of 2021, even though it's old. Look at those eyes. Look at those thighs. Oh my God. Wow.
15-year-old Kev, Harry.
That geezer going into you, he's got no chance if he bounces.
No chance, mate. I'm going to eat him. He's 18. I'm going to eat him, bro.
And then, of course, one of our favorite pics of all time. Look at the boys. The boys.
The South London crew.
Love it.
Oh,
brilliant.
Absolutely outstanding, those boys.
Yes.
Miss them. I miss them. Miss them all.
I bet, even for us when we have like great jobs and we miss people and then you have experiences like this. Look at that. I love it. It's just brilliant stuff, Kev. Absolutely great. Let's hope that we can reignite those days and reignite the Arsenal. I'm going to start off with Kev's question of the day because we've got no Kev Says tomorrow. So Kev sent in a question for everyone. And I'm going to play it and then we'll kick off with a little bit of a footy conversation. Here we go.
Squaddies, Sophie, Harry, Merry Christmas. No Kev Says tomorrow. So I have just the one question for today. If there was one area to prioritize, where would it be? One area to prioritize. Where would it be in this Arsenal 11? Anyway, look after yourselves, people. Take good care. I'll see you on the podcast later. And don't let me have to brook you up!
Harry, I listen to these in the morning because I wake up. We've got an 8-hour difference, right? And I wake up. I'm like, Harry would understand. So I'm like, panayamos
Casey, I think
WTF? What the is going on?
You know what? There's some good motivational videos, man. I think you need to send them to me in the morning to get me up.
Yeah, get Sophie up,
When I've got a 2-year-old nudging me, telling me just because there's a little bit of light outside, it's day, wake up. That's what I need, something like that.
Oh my God, brilliant stuff. Harry, what's your take on Kev's question?
It's a really good question because if you'd have asked me this question a few weeks ago, my answer would have been a little bit different. And that's why it's such an interesting question. So my initial thought on this, and it's something that I've discussed on a couple of podcasts in the past, was that the midfield was the area, the center of midfield was the area in which Arsenal needed to strengthen, partly because Granit Xhaka was out, was en route back. But you know that sometimes when a player's been out for a little period of time, they can suffer a setback. There's a lot of debate around kind of the strength in depth that we have beyond Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey. Lokonga, new player, come in. I think he was brought in with a view for the future, obviously. And he's probably, a lot of people have said he's been unlucky that he's been left out. But I would probably argue that he played more than was the initial intention because of the injuries that we had. So I would have said that area initially. I would have said that with Xhaka still not back fit and with Lokonga still quite inexperienced, Ainsley Maitland-Niles has been a little bit hit and miss for me. Sometimes he's looked up to the job. Other times he hasn't. Mohamed El-Neni's a kind of 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10 guy for me, week in, week out. So I would have said the center of midfield. And then this Aubameyang situation has come about. And now I feel like, I think it's a fair argument to say that the striking position is one that we need to deal with, because I hear a lot of people talk about Gabriel Martinelli as a future centre forward. And while I agree he's got a lot of the skills required to play that role, I never get that vibe from him, not from interviews, not from the way he plays, not from the manager, that that's where his future is. He is a left winger. That's where he wants to play. Eddie Nketiah, I'm not sure about. Obviously a young, talented player, but I'm not saying that he didn't do very well against Sunderland the other night. I'm simply saying that didn't really change my view because of the opponent. And when you've got a striker like Eddie Nketiah, and KC will know, a lot of the time we kind of hail them for being foxes in the box and, all of that stuff and having the instinct to be in the right areas. But that, for a striker like that, I feel like you're relying on the team to click. And sometimes it isn't going to be that, well, a lot of the time it isn't going to be that easy. And we're not going to create those opportunities with that kind of regularity. And therefore, we need our striker to bring us a little bit more outside the box, like Lacazette does, the link-up play, the dropping deep at times, the being able to kind of time your run. And when you do drop deep, create holes in behind you for the wingers to come in field and get more involved. So I think with Nketiah's situation, the contract situation, and the fact that I'm not sure he's ready to lead the line regularly, plus the fact that Aubameyang appears to be excluded at the moment, I think for me now, a striker is probably the number one priority. But as I say, a few weeks ago, I'd have told you that it was the midfield, because Aubameyang for me was still an option, even though he wasn't playing that well. Still a quality, experienced footballer. And now you're talking about us being one injury away, one Alexander Lacazette injury away from having some issues up there.
It's really interesting because so many of the folks in the chat have been talking about midfield, and others have been talking about striker. And even at the beginning of the season, we were always on the bandwagon of Thomas Partey needs the right partner. And as the season has evolved, I posed the question, and some other listeners have said, are we kind of communicating the right narrative? Because Thomas Partey hasn't hit the heights that many expect. So a lot of people have been questioning, should we be asking who is the right partnership in midfield versus who's going to partner Thomas Partey in midfield? To answer your own question, I know you do it at the end of the show, but tonight we're doing it a bit differently. It seems like the striker position is going to be the position that is going to be the most vulnerable for us, considering we do have Partey, Xhaka, Sambi, Maitland-Niles who can deputise, like Harry said, albeit not the answer on a long-term basis. We have scored more goals. We've scored 14 goals since Aubameyang has been benched. What's your take on the priority, knowing in January it's going to be a tougher cause because we don't have premier European football to offer top players?
Yeah, striker. It's got to be striker. Look, we've got enough bodies in the midfield that we can chuck to patch it up, so to speak. We do have enough to patch that up. But at the striker position, Martinelli is done fantastic. But I want the burden taken off him. I want him to just get on and carry on with the way he's playing and not have to carry this team. Same with Saka, same with Smith Rowe. These youngsters are excellent, but they need some help. We wanted Aubameyang to be the one carrying it this season. He's proved that he's not up to it, or the way things are now, he's probably, not up to it to the way that he's going to be out of the football club. So we need someone up there as well as Lacazette, obviously, we need somebody up there who can not only lead the line, not only be the experienced one, but most importantly, stick the ball away. If we get another one up there who can stick the ball away, we're a serious threat then. We are a serious threat. Because the difference from earlier on in the season is now we're not only creating chances, we're taking it. What we created before, we never took. Now Erdegaard's starting to really come to the party. He's starting to find his feet. And we look a different force going forward. So long may it continue, but we got to get a number 9, a striker in. Someone bigger who can head it as well, Soph. Let me just add.
Well, yeah, at the beginning of the season, Harry, Kev and I talked about how we would love a Lukaku or a Tammy Abrahams. A lot of our listeners kind of were questioning us with the Tammy Abrahams thing. But when you look at
Soph.
how...
Sorry, Soph. Harry.
I'm being polite.
They didn't question us. They called us deluded, mate.
They did.
They called us crazy.
They did. And of course, because Arteta loves playing through the flanks, especially that left side with Tierney, Harry. And a lot of Tierney's balls go aerially versus Nuno's that kind of go to feet and aerially too. So we felt when we need a plan B, there's no true header of the ball unless there's a set piece when Gabriel is coming up as well. So is there that type of profile player that we can afford? I know everyone keeps talking about Vlahovic. There's rumors today. Some Arsenal fans are having a meltdown that Tottenham are going in for him. Of course, he's a hot commodity in Europe. What's your take on the profile, the DNA of that player up front in order for us to be able to kind of have not only the plan A, but also the plan B if the plan A goes a little bit awry?
Yeah, I think the profile of the striker is really, really important. I think one of the reasons that Aubameyang has struggled is not because Aubameyang became a rubbish striker overnight. It's because the tactical evolution of the side made him a little bit obsolete. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to him. It's just the skill set required to play in that system, in that team, is slightly different to what he possesses. Lacazette is closer to that profile, and that's why he's looked better in doing that role, because he brings you a lot in terms of the build-up. But again, as you say, if you're playing against a team of stuck 5 at the back and are playing on the edge of their penalty area, and the only spaces you can work are in the wide areas, you put balls into the penalty area, Lacazette's not going to cause a centre-half problems. A centre-half would look at Lacazette and think, well, this is my lucky day. I'm going to deal with this and it will be quite easy. So I think for me, what we're looking for is, and one of the reasons I think actually Mikel Arteta went through that little phase a couple of months ago where he played Laka and Oba, was because he recognized that he needed skill from both of them in terms of what they bring. So he needed Aubameyang's ability to run in behind, play off the shoulder, that pace to kind of use on the counter-attack. But he also recognized that he needed Laka's hold-up play. I don't think he ever wanted to play a 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1, whatever it was. He just recognized that at this moment in time, in order to create more, we need both of those skill sets available to us. And unfortunately, we don't have it in one player. So I think what he's going to be looking for is somebody like Vlahovic, right? Who's got all the technical ability, pretty good in the build-up as well, and is quite happy running in behind or having balls played into him inside the penalty area and having to hold off centre-half. So I think the profile is massive. And I think we're looking at people like Vlahovic as someone who's, as you say, a hot commodity. It's going to cost a lot of money. There's no doubt about that. Fiorentina know what they've got and know that they're going to, cash in big if they are indeed going to let him go. But it's going to be interesting to see what Arsenal do if they do go for someone so renowned, someone so sought after, and spend sort of 60-70 million pound plus, or if they're going to try and identify someone with the potential, with the attributes that we're looking for, but who maybe isn't quite the finished article yet. And another player we've been linked with quite a bit who fits and ticks a lot of those boxes would be Benfica's Darwin Nunez. Big physical guy, happy to run in behind, works incredibly hard, works channels, can drop deep. So he's a kind of player that I would say ticks a lot of the boxes that we'd be looking for. But this is the problem. People could sit there and say, well, we know what Haaland's release clause is, go and get him. The problem is not that I don't think Arsenal are willing to pay the money. I think it's that there's going to be other clubs in for these players. And with the stage we're at in terms of our development, it's not always easy to convince someone that you're the best place for them. You can say to someone, we're going to get Champions League football within 12, 18 months, but somebody's already got it. And somebody's already got that carrot to kind of dangle to the player. So it's going to be tough. And I think we're probably going to have to think a little bit outside of the box if we're going to get someone who isn't overly crazy expensive, but ticks the boxes that we need him to.
Harry, we've been linked with that David from Lille, haven't we?
Yeah.
No more Lille players.
No, but I'm just saying we've been linked to him. He's the top scorer in League 1 at the moment. Looks very good, looks sharp, but again, we've got a little history of that, haven't we? So
Kevin, Harry, can I ask you a question? And don't kill me in the chat box, all right, squaddies, and everyone, just give me a minute here. If we qualify, because I don't think we're going to find our striker of the future in January. I think the summer is going to be where Arsenal are going to do their business. And look, everyone poo-pooed our business in the summer, but look how these players have evolved. Now, the proof will be in the May pudding. We all know that, right? But let me ask you guys this. If we qualify for Champions League football, Martin Odegaard is there. His bestie, who he captains at international level. Why can't the Arsenal sign Haaland? Why? If it's about European football, playing in the Champions League, being in a spot where you're going to be the superstar, you're going to be the main man, why not? Is it because Arsenal will not pay 150 million? I think Arsenal would write that check tomorrow, personally. Call me crazy, but I think we will. Am I talking out of my backside here? You guys talk me through it a little bit.
For me, there's two reasons or two words that explain why we won't get Erling Haaland. And those words are Mino Raiola. The player's agent is renowned for, going and approaching clubs and making sure that he gets the deals that he wants his clients to have. And I just feel like, in the past anyway, Arsenal have been reluctant to kind of go so big with agents. And Mino Raiola, we know, is going to command a huge fee to steer Erling Haaland into our direction. Whoever gets him is going to have to sweeten up Mino Raiola as well. And that's one of my big worries. And that's why I feel like it is going to probably be, I don't think it's going to be a Premier League club unless Man City are willing to put their money where their mouth is. I think it's going to be incredibly expensive in regards to the transfer fee, in regards to the player's salary, and in regards to whatever you're going to need to do with the agent. And he is an agent that we know. And so if we were talking about Zlatan before, and I don't know, have you read Zlatan's book, I Am Zlatan?
Yeah, of course.
If you read that, you get an understanding of exactly what Mino Raiola's like. And that is a stumbling point for me.
Okay, so I do. And Kev, everyone used to talk about our wage structure under Wenger. And of course, we broke that for Ozil. And we broke it across the board for multiple players in the last 2 or 3 seasons. Aubameyang's on. What's the difference between paying Aubameyang 350 and saying, you know what, Arsenal Football Club, if you really want to win now, it's that US sports mentality. Who would begrudge giving his agent like a bonus and Haaland earning 500 grand a week if we can make that happen? And I know some people have already called me deluded, of course, and some people have been, of course, beautifully sexist and said, behave, love. But everything happens for a reason. Why would someone go, okay, people went to Manchester City for the money early on. Man City are not a bigger club than the Arsenal. They're a small club doing big things. Let's be honest. Stop with the madness here. Arsenal Football Club is a bigger club than Manchester City. Manchester City are a smaller club doing big things and getting bigger. And when the new money came into them, when the new money came into Chelsea, it was all about attracting on a wage level. And that's why players came in. So you know what? Maybe it's time for Arsenal to adapt or die. Kev, what's your take on this? Am I deluded?
It's not that you're deluded, Sophie. The issues that you have to take into consideration is he's already been a Champions League player with Dortmund. Now you move to step up and to try and win the Champions League. You go to those sort of clubs if you're moving from Dortmund. Not saying that Arsenal couldn't get him. Of course, Arsenal could get him. But realistically, the likes of Haaland moves to a competitor who is going to be challenging for that Champions League. If a Real Madrid signs him, and I know they haven't been great, but all of a sudden they're going to open the books now. They have been very frugal with their money over the last few years. They haven't spent anything. They've had to redo the ground, etc. Now they're ready to come out and make a move. So it's the likes of that. PSG possibly losing Mbappe. Will they want to chuck the big money at Haaland? I mean, 500 grand, he might be looking at more than that. So again, could we get him? Of course we could. Listen, Arsenal's a big enough profile to get him. I just feel at this moment in time, we just are not far enough up that totem pole right now to be one of the forerunners.
But it takes a signing to get you there, right?
Yeah,
City.
but not on Haaland's watch. No, it's not going to be on Haaland's watch. That's the issue. Signing players for wages is one thing. That's all done now. Mm-hmm. Now these guys have the pick of where they can go.
But let's say we do finish in the top four. I'm playing the what if game, which I love. It's my favorite Christmas game to play.
Sophie, I'm not saying we can't finish in the top four. But on that totem pole, that'll be Arsenal's first time in the Champions League for 5 years.
He can be the Don. He could be the Don of the club.
It doesn't matter. He wants to win. He will want to win.
Every player wants to win, Kevin, right? Every player wants to win. There's no doubt about that at all. But we've also seen if Messi really wanted to win, why did he go to PSG?
Because they're going to...
No. They've been perennial losers in the Champions League. That's the one they want.
No, Sophie. He's gone there to try and make a difference to get them over the line.
No. He's gone there for money.
Sophie,
he's not gone there to win. They've been absolute losers in the Champions League, embarrassingly so. Under Tuchel, under Emery, and under Pochettino.
Sophie, Lionel Messi don't need the money.
You know what, Kev? When you make money, you want more money.
Sophie, but Lionel Messi doesn't need the money.
No, but rich people still want money, Kev.
No, I'm not saying they don't want money, but I'm just saying
Why didn't he go to City then? Why didn't he go to City?
Because England's a different kettle of fish, Sophie. Playing in England's a lot harder. He went to France. Neymar, Mbappe, he's thinking, there's a great opportunity we could get across the line.
Da lefta, as we Greeks say. Da lefta. Harry,
but money's a part of it, so of course it is.
Of course.
No, but that's a byproduct when you're the best player in the world.
He's been absolute rubbish so far there. And to be honest with you, PSG fail at every level when they get to the end game in the Champions League. And City have too. But uniting with Pep Guardiola and City and proving yourself in a much more competitive league, you can't say that he didn't go there just for the money. PSG throw money at people. Mbappe wants to leave PSG because he wants the prestige of playing for Real Madrid. Totally different. Harry, what's your take on all of this?
It's a hard one because I see both sides, but I think for Messi, I don't think Messi wanted to leave Barcelona full stop. I think that was evident all along. You know, he wanted to leave in the past. He tried to leave in the past, and that all broke down. He thought that he had a kind of escape clause in his contract, and obviously that fell apart, and he ended up staying. But I don't think at this point, or at the point that he left to go to PSG, he was up for that. I don't think that was his first choice. Obviously, the circumstances meant that Barcelona couldn't keep hold of him, and he went. And I think when you look at the options that he had available to him, I think that money was a factor, of course, but as KC says, I think you go to PSG, you know you're probably going to win the league. So you're going to have another league title in a different country on your CV. And although they haven't won the Champions League, at the start of the season, you'd have put them in the top, I don't know, outside of the English clubs, you'd have probably put them on par with, Real Madrid and or maybe slightly below Real Madrid and Bayern Munich in terms of the teams that could win it. So they're in with the chance, they're in the mix. So
Harry,
I think it's a bit of both.
Harry, Sophie, I look at who they signed as well, because it's not just Messi. They went and signed Sergio Ramos.
Loser signing, done nothing, injured, sent off.
Sophie,
what a poxy sign.
Hold on a minute, Sophie. Earlier on in the season, you were talking about maybe Arsenal should
and
sign
thank
him.
God we dodged that bullet, because he's not the same player.
He's not the same player. But you only signed those experienced players to try and get you over the line, is my point.
Because they're so desperate to win the trophy, they've been losers at.
No, but exactly.
Haaland joining PSG would be the biggest disappointment in the history of football, modern football.
Sophie, but my point is this. These guys are higher up the totem pole than Arsenal. That's what I said.
Kev, hold on 1 second. You always say to me, stop, Sophie, stop. Arsenal Football Club is still a draw. Forget where we are.
It's not, Sophie, but you're not listening to me. I said they're higher up the totem pole at this present
time. Why? City have done nothing in the Champions League.
Sophie,
PSG have done nothing in the Champions League
for 5 years.
We've been to a final. When was the last time City got to a final?
We've not been in the Champions League for 5 years.
But we're still the Arsenal Football Club, according to you.
Yeah, but we've not been in the Champions League for 5 years, Sophie.
But also as well, that point of, we are the Arsenal Football Club. And I completely agree. I've grown up loving Arsenal Football Club and seeing Arsenal at the very, very top of the Premier League, etc. But does someone who's growing up now and who's 21, 22 years old still see Arsenal as having that draw? Now, we see it, and people of an older generation see it because we remember. But if you're Erling Haaland and you're how old is he? 22, 23? Is Arsenal as big a draw as it used to be? Is a kid I've got a mate who lives in North London and his nephew supports Manchester City, just like kids 10, 15 years ago supported Manchester United in London because they were the thing. So that shifts a little bit. And we have to kind of recognize and probably understand that although in our minds, Arsenal is still right up there and Man United is still, I'll always say Man United are a bigger club than Man City, no matter what happens on the pitch. But
all day long.
But the point is that for the modern generation, that's leveling out a lot. And PSG are another one of those clubs, right? They hadn't even won the league in France the most times up until a few years. I don't even think they have. Saint Etienne have won more Ligue 1 titles, if I'm not mistaken, over the course of their history. But that has all shifted and all changed. And the modern generation, younger guys coming up, I don't think will have as much respect for what Arsenal were 20 years ago and what other clubs were 20 years ago. I think all of that is leveling out a little bit.
I agree. The problem with modern new money is that it buys you new likes, it buys you new audience, it buys you X, Y, and Z. And thank you for correcting me, everyone. Yes, City got to the final, but look, even I forgot that they got there because they're losers in the Champions League. Do not mistake being a small club doing big things in the Premier League and winning the League Cup every single year with being a dominant force in Europe. If you're Haaland, then go to Bayern Munich. Don't go to Barcelona, of course. They've got no money now, and La Liga is not competitive, and it's losing its flair since Ronaldo and Messi have left. So if you're going to come to the Premier League, if I was him, I'd go to Liverpool. To be frank, if I was his agent, I would say go to Liverpool. Lots going on there, very exciting, great crowd. doing bits across every area of Europe, recent
Won't pay the
Champions
money.
League winners. So, yeah, but at some point, Kev, my point is these clubs are going to the way the world is moving, inflation is up. Everyone's looking for a pay rise. Everyone's looking for more money. Eventually, everyone breaks the bank. They have to if you want to win. So if you want to make sure City don't get Haaland, then you've got to go in for it. And what I'm saying is Arsenal haven't done this yet. So if you're going to do it for a generational player, a player who could be with your club for the next 10 years, why not him? Why
We're
not him?
no,
And
but
then
no, but Sophie, we're not saying that Arsenal can't get him. What we're saying is, you asked us, can we sign him or not? And I said, yes, we can. But on the totem pole of clubs that he might want to go to, there are teams higher priority than us. Not that we're not a big club. Of course, we're a fantastic club. But we haven't been in the Champions League for 5 years. He's been playing Champions League football at Dortmund.
But what does
So-
that have to do with anything when people go to PSG who've been average for years and then got into the Champions League and their new money has been able to galvanize them in Europe, Kevin? That's the same thing. Why
Isn't.
not?
How is it the same thing? Sophie,
What do you
Sophie,
mean? Why isn't it the same thing?
well, Sophie, okay, let me just put it to you then. So there's a club who haven't played in the Champions League for 5 years, and there's a club who's been in the Champions League for 5 years, haven't won it. They've got to a final, got to a semi. Are you telling me there's no difference?
So when Aguero
No.
and
Now answer the question. Are you
no,
telling
there
me
is.
there's
Let
no
me
difference?
give you a comparative. When everyone signed for City, who were nothing in the Premier League, zero club in the Premier League, but players signed for them because the money was there and they were building something going forward. My point is, Arsenal Football Club, if you want to show ambition in the new world, the new money world, where football lives and breathes these days, why not? Players went to City that was a nothing club compared to Arsenal and
But not
rebuilt.
straight away, Soph. Not straight away, though. They had to buy in a lower bracket first.
And we have bought in a lower bracket. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Gabriel, Thomas Partey. All of these players, don't tell me we haven't bought in a lower bracket.
No, but Manchester City were signing people like Rolando Bianchi and like Joe up front and people like that. So the point
and
is
we signed that Sonoga and whatever his name was. We signed Javinho. We signed Mustafi, Socrates, Kolasinac. We moved to Ozil. We moved to Sanchez. We moved to Santi Cazorla. Why is it so different for Arsenal? Why are we poo-pooing our own club and the evolution?
We're not poo-pooing it, Soph. The fact of the matter is, we haven't got the deep pockets like they've got.
We're not bankrolled by a state like they are. That's the
no. But if a player comes up, my point is a generational
you're on about one
up.
player. Manchester City didn't buy one player. They bought bunches, and that's the difference.
But they were not. My point is they were zero before they bought bunches and before they bought, and so were we. Look at our evolution.
But Sophie, the fact of the matter is, we're talking about now. We're not talking about back then. We're talking about now. And we're talking about a player who's currently playing Champions League football.
We can't even guarantee him that
Aubameyang was playing Champions League football with Dortmund and came to Arsenal to play Europa League football.
Yeah, he was, Sophie. Yes, he was. But we're talking about one of the hottest properties on the planet now.
And Aubameyang was a hot property too, but he's a generational property.
No, but what I'm saying is, we're talking about now. Let's not go back there. Yes, he did sign for Arsenal. Lacazette signed for Arsenal. Brilliant. Arsenal have not been in the top Champions League for the last 5 years.
Where are the visionaries in the world? Where are the visionaries? Where is Elon Musk? Where are they? Let me tell you about my Santa hat before we move on to the next question, all right? You want to know about my Santa hat? I've saved this for all of you. You ready?
Let's hear it. Go on.
It's a beer opener as well.
Well, Santa, you're going to need that, ain't you? I'll tell you. Go on, Soph.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
Wow. What a good hat.
It's a great hat. I love this hat. It comes in handy.
I was
all
wondering
the
why
time.
it was so long, but now it makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
Been
There you
weighed
go.
down. But Sophie, just to finish off, Sophie, I'm not saying I wouldn't welcome Haaland with open arms at Arsenal.
I'd drive there and bring him
I
back
would
myself.
love him to sign for Arsenal, Sophie. Absolutely love it. But just like we talked about Lukaku, the amount of clubs that are going to be trying to serenade this young man, who are, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you could think different, who are higher up that totem pole because they've played Champions League football time and time again. They've got a better chance of winning it than us. That's all.
So what is realistic then for us? Because now we're downgrading ourselves. We're talking about, we're on this evolutionary trail. We want to get better. We want to get bigger, Harry. And yet we're not in the Haaland business. So we're not even, so then why are we in the Vlahovic business?
Because Vlahovic is not as esteemed at the moment as Haaland is, right? He's had a good 12 months in Serie A. And most people regard Serie A as a weaker league now than it was once upon a time. He's not done it in the Champions League the way Haaland has. And I think people, Vlahovic is someone who a lot of the hype around him right now is based on potential, not what he actually is. You're talking about this guy being touted for £100 million. And listen, I'm a massive Serie A fan. I cover a lot of Serie A, and I can't tell you that he's worth even £80 million. I don't think he is. I think it's what he could become that drives that kind of value. And at this stage that Arsenal are at, that's what we've got to be doing. We've got to be smart in our business. And it's all about what we could become. Because you look at the team right now, Ben White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, all young players, with the potential of Lokonga coming through, Odegaard, Martinelli. It's not what Arsenal are now today that excites people. It's what it could be. And we're still at that point. We still have to prove ourselves. We have to go and get a top 4 finish. We have to go and win another domestic trophy. We have to do something that elevates us to that next level before we can shop or sit around the table with the very big boys. And we're not there just yet. There's a feel-good factor around the club now. I'm loving watching this team develop and grow. I'm so, as I've said to you before, I'm really invested and engaged in it. But ultimately, if I'm Erling Haaland and I want to win the Champions League next season, or I want to win a league title next season, Arsenal can't even guarantee me that I'll be in the Champions League, let alone win it. So I think that's the point. We're not saying that we don't ever need to. We do need to break barriers at some point, but we need to see a lot more progress and a lot more consistency before we can break that barrier. You look at some of these clubs that we're talking about, esteemed managers, managers who have been around the block, who have won everything. And then you've got Mikel Arteta, who I think is doing a wonderful job. But if you're a player, would you put your career in Mikel Arteta's hands right now if you've got the opportunity to work with any manager you want in the world? I'm not sure you would. So it's still, Arsenal still going through this stage where they've got stuff to prove before they'll be seen again as one of the big forces and an attractive proposition. Because remember, these guys have got no affiliation to Arsenal like we do.
I understand that. Gunnar welcome Gunnar in the house.
Is he? Oh, he showed up, has he? This guy's been down my throat, Harry. Absolutely down my throat. Doom and gloom merchant he is.
Oh, I love him. He's epic at the same time, though.
He's a great guy as well.
But just on that comment, where is the ambition? Even our fans' ambitions have been dumbed down. It's not being dumbed down. Actually, it's waking up and being smart and understanding where we are. Because, put it this way as an analogy, right? If you sit at night and dream of waking up next to Jennifer Lopez and you wake up next to someone else every morning, you'll be disappointed, won't you? Because you've set that bar to a ridiculously high standard that
Harry, after waking up to Anna Vissi, I'm like, anything's possible, right?
Yeah,
just friends. But the point is, though, when Mancini took over at City, what had they done? What had they done? Like,
No, but they
why
had to
not?
win that title. That title that they
No,
won
but
when Aguero
when
scored
they
that goal.
okay, when they won, but they had Aguero. Who else did they have? They had Vincent Company. Who else did they have?
But
They brought
Vincent
in
Kompany came from Anderlecht and wasn't, or he came from German football, I think, at that point. But he wasn't. He was a good player, but he wasn't
like
developed
top.
Gabriel.
properly yet. He
Gabriel.
wasn't
Okay,
developed.
let's
Yeah.
do like for
That's
like. Let's
but
do
that's
like
what
for like.
That's what Harry's saying. So
And that's what I'm saying, Mr.
yeah,
Kevin
but there
Campbell.
has to be a development of our team, which we're seeing. The young team, it isn't now. It's 18 months, 2 years, 3 years down the line. All these boys together with a sprinkling of some experience, and we could have something real special, can't we?
Yeah, but a lot of these players will want to see that before they'll commit. Like Company was someone who was.
Aguero need to see it before he committed to City.
Yeah, but Aguero was Aguero the Aguero that ended up leaving. Was he the same Aguero that left City? He wasn't,
No, he
because
was very sought after. He was one of
yeah, but he was plucked from an Atletico Madrid side at a time
the
before Diego Simeone got them to like
The
challenging for
heights,
the
the
league,
heights.
challenging for the Champions League. They weren't there at that point. They were, they were never in competition with Barcelona and Real Madrid at that point, which is why
but
Simeone's
many
done such a
teams
great
in
job
Europe
since.
wanted him, did they not, Harry?
But money talks, and you've got to convince people of the project. This project that we've got.
So what
now,
about Arteta's project that you've been pimping like left, right, and centre all year?
It's a project that's attractive, but there's one key component missing from it that differentiates it to Cities. We can't go in one summer and buy 5 players of the highest caliber because we can't afford to do it. Everybody
Okay.
bangs on about what we
I'm
spent.
going to interrupt you.
Spent on
Yaya
6
Toure,
players.
Vincent Company, David Silva, Aguero. Also, I'd like to remind everyone that when Liverpool bought Mo Salah, they thought that they were buying a loser Premier League player who was also considered previously one of the most talented people, but didn't shine at Chelsea under Mr. Jose Mourinho. Am I making my point?
So when Liverpool signed Salah, who thought he would be what he is now?
That my point
Nobody.
is there's a mix. Like Yaya Toure was a born winner at Barcelona. Aguero was one of the most sought after forwards from Atletico Madrid in Europe. Mo Salah was a risk signing. We've had risk.
Mane.
Mane was
Liverpool.
Mane was a great find, but was hugely sought after. I think that
at Southampton.
Okay, so here's the scoop. Elon
build.
Musk wants to go to the moon, and so does Jeff Bezos, and everyone around them is like, you can't go to the moon. You just own Amazon. You can't go to the moon. You design cars. They're going to the moon.
So we're not saying we can't go to the moon. When have we ever said that?
You're saying it right now, both of you.
We've never said we can't do that.
We're saying
we never said that, you see. So
we're saying
you're changing the narrative.
We're saying that if you're not money bags,
I'm involving the narrative.
If you're not money bags like Manchester City, then you have to do it in a certain way, in a smart way. Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk, ex-Celtic and Southampton defender. Who thought that he'd become the best centre-half in the world? Let's be honest. Nobody. You look at some of the other players that Kev's mentioned. Salah, Chelsea flopped, went to Rome, did okay. Didn't really pull up many trees, wasn't renowned as this world beater. Sadio Mane, again, Southampton, they took risks on signings, but they were calculated risks, and they were risks that paid off because they identified the type of players they needed. They targeted people that weren't maybe as fancied as others, and they nurtured them and developed them and put them in a system that suits them perfectly. That's the Liverpool way of doing it. And unfortunately, we're in the place where we need to, that's the model. That's what we should be looking at. A good coach with a good philosophy who buys players that fit into that and then gets the absolute maximum out of them. We can't go and take these risks. We can't go and spend £60 million on a centre-half like Manchester City do and then decide after 12 months he's not good enough. We can't go and buy a first-choice goalkeeper after a year decide he's not good enough. How many fullbacks has Pep Guardiola gone through for crazy amounts of money? Do
you remember how people thought Liverpool were crazy spending 72 million on Virgil van Dijk and 60 plus on Alisson? I mean, I'm saying to you, someone just said, if not now, when? And Kev's asked one question, and I'm great for this evening because we only have one question from Kev. So we're lucky. Okay. If you guys want to move on, great. But my point is, I love how this discussion has evolved.
It's good. It's good.
Into the ambition of Arsenal Football Club. And I agree with the listener that I just put their comment up, and I'm sorry that I can't remember your name. But if not now, when? Now's the time. You got Ramsdale, you got Tomiyasu, you got Gabriel, you got Thomas Partey, you've got Saka, you've got Emil Smith-Rowe, you've got Martinelli. It's like that one signing that takes us over the edge. Do you break the bank for
one
it?
One signing isn't going to do it, Soph.
That's the point. Yeah, it needs to be.
One signing is not going to do it.
The question was the striker. One signing. Striker.
But I'm saying that is not going to be the difference maker to propel us to winning the league. What has to happen is this team have to evolve and develop. That's what we have to do. We have to. Because as we've proven this season against the experienced top sides, we're not quite there yet. We're good, Sophie, but we're not quite there. We're not smart enough. We don't have enough about us just yet.
The point is a certain signing. I want to read this one out from Mike. People thought United were crazy for signing Maguire for 80 million, but VVD was a great signing, and they're fortunate to have the money from Coutinho sell to do it. They spent that money wisely, 100%. Yeah. But Harry, my point is at some point you make that one mega deal.
But I don't think you can do it with one mega deal anymore. That's the problem. You can do it with one mega deal when you already have the groundwork, the foundation. We don't have the foundation yet. We're trying to build it at this moment in time. You look at Sergio Aguero's the example that we keep going back to, going to Manchester City. He went there because there were other big players going to Manchester City at that point, because they'd convinced him, not just by signing him, but by signing a group of players, that the project was going in the right direction. One of the big problems at Arsenal in recent years, if you think about it, we signed Ozil. That was one player, but we couldn't back it up. We couldn't then go and get a top centre midfielder, an enforcer to help him, and then a top centre half all in the same summer. It was one, and then one, and then what? It was Ozil, and then it was Sanchez, and then we were losing other players in the process because, we couldn't hold on to them, and there was
we couldn't fill those gaps, could we?
Exactly,
behind them.
Exactly. It's all good signing an Ozil, but if you can't sign a centre midfielder that gives him the platform to go on and do what he's good at, it's a waste of time. Then you go and sign Alexis Sanchez. But again, you're still not going to win the league with just Ozil and Sanchez. You need more, and we could never back it up because we don't have the money, or we don't want to spend it, depending on where you look at it.
Sorry, there's a storm here in Southern California, and my internet just went out. So apologies. I'm not just reading the comments and searching for my comeback. Henny Tuesday. Thank you for that.
I think there's a storm in the Hog household as well, by the way.
I know. I'm seeing the Mike started that. Magic Mike started it, by the way.
Oh, well, listen, he's next supposed to be Brock. He's supposed to be watching himself.
Sophie, you're like a 6-year-old kid. You want 4 big players now. I never said that. My point is, at some point, by the way, 500 of you in live chat on Christmas week. Kev, tell them what you want. Other than Haaland.
other than Haaland signing for the Arsenal, right? I want at least 300. Come on, it's Christmas week. We got Big Harry on.
We got Vinny on Harry's head.
Do a Vinny. Come on. Hit it, smash it, like it. Brock Magic Mike's neck if he comes on there doing that crap anymore. Hit the like button.
Oh my God, amazing. Okay, so that conversation, that one question took us in different places. I love how everyone says, let's move on. It's great. You're just brilliant. I love how you're the...
So I've got a question for Harry, because you asked this the other day. Harry, what mark would you give Arsenal so far up until this moment in time? We're going to obviously 4th in the table, and we're going to be 4th at Christmas. And look at the start we had. It was terrible after 3 games. What mark do you think you would give Arsenal out of 10?
I actually did a pod on this the other day, so I've had a good chance to think about this.
Nice one.
I didn't want to give him I didn't want to give him a 6.5 because I thought it was a little bit harsh. I thought 7 was a little bit too high, so I went with a 6.75, very specific. Just because although we are going to be fourth at Christmas, and obviously that's brilliant, you know, when you consider the way we started the campaign, I don't think many people thought that was possible. But when you look at the table, although we've got the points on the board, which is very important, and there is pressure on those sides to make up ground on us, if those teams win their games in hand, it can look quite different.
Yeah.
So I'm just mindful of that. But I think there's definitely been progress, man. We've had that dip at the start of the season. We know the circumstances around that. We had another mini dip with those 3 games, but we managed to bounce back, and we managed to, as I always say, stop those dips turning into rots. And rots are what cost you in the season. If you remember last season, we had that dreadful kind of couple of month period, didn't we? And ultimately, we were brilliant after Christmas in comparison to some of the teams around us. But it wasn't enough because the damage had already been done. So we're always going to hit brick walls with this team because we're still developing. We're always going to have dips, but it's making sure they don't turn into rots. That's imperative. And if we can do that, then we will be there or thereabouts come the end of the campaign.
Fair enough. That's fair. I gave it a 7H because I ain't into really giving it too much of the 6.75. Look, I just think after the first 3 games, you know, look, if you'd have said to us then that we'd be at Christmas 4th, and I know there's teams with games in hand, but you know what, Harry? I'd rather have the points in the bag because
Got to win
you know what this league's like, you know. So I gave it a 7. I think they've done the right thing. I think the players that they've brought in have been remarkable. And, you know, Sophie and I discussed right back, for instance. We don't even have a problem with right back. At the, you know, Tommy Arsu's there. He's the number 1. That's it.
Absolutely.
So,
but look, God forbid he gets injured.
Well, Sophie don't like Cedric. I know that much.
And Chambers. I'd rather Maitland-Niles in that position than any of those two. See, we need a similar situation at right back as we have at left back. Nuno can come in. Yes, he's young. He's going to make mistakes, but you know there's something building there. You know that he has the talent to kind of morph himself into this team. And we need that in every position. We've talked about that a lot, haven't we, KC? City, someone goes out, someone comes in. It may not be like for like in terms of world class, but it's pretty good quality in terms of who can come in and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you guys this question that has been a huge debate today across all media in England about the Christmas fixture list. We're already seeing games being cancelled for Boxing Day. For me personally, Boxing Day, since I've been growing up, football, we've all grown up with it. Kev, you've been part of it. You've played in it. Haven't been able to indulge too much on Christmas Day dinner because you've got a game the next day. It's so important in this time that we're living in, especially, Harry, that football doesn't go away. But at the same time, we also have to kind of be mindful of the health and the safety. What's your take on our game? Hopefully it goes ahead. We've got Norwich, a team that we should easily beat, keeping that trajectory going. What's your take on all of this in terms of the fixture list and everything coming ahead of us this holiday season?
I'm a little bit torn on this because one of the charms of English football is the fixture schedule around Christmas and around New Year. It's always something that people look forward to. Equally, I think it's something that's held England back over the years. You know, you look at the other countries, they take winter breaks, and then it comes to the tournaments in the summer, international tournaments, and they seem to be much more refreshed and relaxed and ready to go. So I think there is an argument to be had about the winter break thing. I know, you know, we're going to get the way they do it in England is different. What they do is they give you the winter break, don't they? Where some teams have a week off and then the rest of the teams take the next week off or whatever they do to stop, you know, there being no football. So I'm glad that that's all in place. I've never really understood, although I love the Boxing Day games, I've never understood why there's that extra game in between Boxing Day and New Year's, which adds tons of pressure. And my big issue with it now is, okay, we know that the fixture schedule's always been like that. You come to England, you know that's part and parcel of it. You should just get on with it. My problem now, though, is the way we're going at this moment in time with all the COVID cases is that we're in a place now where I think we're starting to affect the competition and the fairness of the competition. So you look at Boxing Day and Wolves was scheduled to play Watford. Now that game is off because Watford have COVID cases. which means that Wolves, have a fair rest. I think it's 7 days rest or something before, or not 7 days, but it is. It's about 7 days.
It's about six. Yeah,
before they play Arsenal, who will have played less than 48 hours before. So when the schedule is hectic and packed for everybody, there's not really any excuses. But now, because of the way it's going, and I know these are unprecedented times, and everybody says that, and I get that, but you're severely impacting now the quality of the competition, because now, it's great if we win those games, nobody cares because we got the points on the board, and you've got games in hand that you now need to win. But it just, for me, it doesn't sit right. What constitutes getting a game called off at this moment in time? Because we've still had no clarity on that. Maybe the clubs have had it privately, but we as fans don't know what constitutes the postponement of a game. And we're looking at it now, not knowing whether games are going to go ahead from week to week. So for me, it was either stop the Premier League for a period of time for everybody and allow people to get over these cases and get back on track, or just make people play through with their reserve teams, with their whatever. So I just think that the inconsistency is affecting the competition, and it makes me feel uneasy about this Christmas period. I'm going into it and I don't really know what to make of it. Whereas normally I'm like, yes, I love Christmas, get to spend it with the family, and then on Boxing Day you kind of vegetate and watch football all day. But now it's a bit, I don't know, it's not the same.
You bring up some really good points, Harry and Kev. This is probably, as a player, did you love this period, or did you find it? I know you probably love any competitive period.
I loved it. I love the Christmas time.
Can you take us into the mind of the player and what you think they might be thinking right now in terms of what's happening in the world, but also just the tradition of the football? We as fans are always going to be selfish. We want the football to go ahead. But we understand too that they have families, they have people in their lives they care about. So it's a bit of a tricky time.
Yeah, it is a tricky time, and obviously, the health of everybody is paramount. That's for sure. But one thing I will say from a player point of view, I can only speak about myself, was the Christmas period was a real defining time for you as a team and as a squad, and it was, if you can get, because the games are so tight together. If you could pick up a bit of momentum in those games, you win a few, and then all of a sudden you burst into the new year looking forward. You really do. And let's be honest, you hardly train, so you play and you recover. You play and you recover. We're used to it. Players, it's not ideal for people who are not used to the tradition. But that's why that's why these squads are so big. We weren't blessed with a huge squad, but we could accommodate and move and shake a little bit. But right now, I mean, these football clubs have 40 odd pros. So I understand if people are going there, and we've seen flu epidemics and all that in clubs, and it's not teams out and all that kind of thing. And Harry's right. There's no clarity. We got a game which could have maybe been cancelled at the start of the season. We had to put the kids in, really, at the start of the season against Brentford. But there's no clarity now. What constitutes a game being cancelled? How many people have to have COVID? Because, do you know what? What an absolutely great opportunity for some of the under 23s. To get a game. They might never ever get a game. And I look at Chelsea. I look at Chelsea against Wolves, and Chelsea didn't even. I think they had 2 spots on the bench. They left 2 spots free, and they've got an unbelievable under 23 setup going on. Why not put 2 under 23s on the bench?
Do they train the same way, Kev, for the intensity of the Premier League?
Well,
a lot of people have issue with players coming in cold or go on, Harry. I know you had a response there for Kev.
I was just going to say, I can't stand them, but if you are Chelsea, and I know they've got loads of riches, and we shouldn't really feel sorry for them that they had players missing, but if you are Chelsea and you're challenging for the Premier League title and your squad is depleted from what it should be, you know, and then you go into a game like that and you drop points that come the end of the season could be huge when you've seen games being called off for less in the Premier League already.
Harry,
You're going to be aggrieved. That's my issue with it. It's not fair.
Harry, did you see Chelsea's team?
Yeah, it's still a good. It's still a great team.
No. Kovacic don't play, but you could bring Kante in. Am I crazy or what?
The point is though,
Harry,
it's still not their strongest though, is it? It's still not their strongest team. That's the point. It's still not. There's
a difference between so let's be fair. Look at Leeds. No COVID issues, all injuries. Bielsa made no excuses. Zero.
Absolutely.
So Tuchel making excuses for that game was a bit pathetic, in my opinion.
No, if it was Arsenal and we were in the title race, or even in the race for the top four, like we are, and it's not that you should make loads of excuses about having players missing. It's the point that the problem has been dealt with in a totally different way when other teams have had it. You know, Tottenham decided to have a winter break in the middle of the season. Look how they've come back.
Disgraceful.
Now. Manchester United have had games called off when, according to the reports, they've not had as many cases as what Chelsea have had. I'm not saying we should sit here crying for Chelsea. I'm just saying the consistency with which these rules are applied.
There's no clarity.
100% about that.
There's no clarity.
And come the end of the season, it could dictate who wins the Premier League title. And I don't want the title to be decided by the Premier League 1 week deciding to postpone a game and the next week deciding it doesn't warrant it. Or them looking, I reckon, and I honestly believe this, they looked at last weekend, saw all the Saturday fixtures apart from Arsenal's full casualty to COVID, and went, well, now we're going to reject any proposals to turn the Sunday ones off because we've got no games this weekend. We haven't got a product. The broadcasters who have paid us all this money to broadcast these games are not going to have anything to broadcast, and we're going to have to reimburse them, and we're going to have to do this, and we're going to have to do that. I genuinely think, because we heard that Chelsea made that, that plea sort of Friday night, Saturday morning. Had all the Saturday games gone ahead, I bet the Premier League would have been more willing to listen to their case. And that's my issue with it. It's so inconsistent.
Yeah, we got Max in the house who's a Chelsea fan. We have a few. We got Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs fans in the house as well. And look, if for us the equivalent would be, Xhaka can't play, Sambi comes in. Okay, Kante can't play, Kovacic comes in, or the other way around, and vice versa. If we're at work, you're sick, and there's a presentation, one of your colleagues has to step in and help you out. This is life. This is part of it. And at some point, we also have to be able to get on with it. And here's the scoop, people. Money talks and bullshit walks.
Runs marathons, so yeah.
And at the end of the day, this is all about money. This is the TV money. This is about international TV rights. This is about local TV rights. Nothing more, nothing less. And they do not want to upset the financial cart. Kev, is that fair?
100%. 100%. Listen, we know how this thing's been going. We know what it's all about now. And the TV rights are so big. This is what really helps as a driver. It's the fuel for the Premier League to push. It's the fuel and as to why the Premier League is the biggest in the world. Mm-hmm. Not only is it the product on the pitch, but it's that TV revenue that gets pumped into these clubs. And it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. But again, the authorities not having the clarity, that is the problem. If everybody knows what the issues are, then nobody could question it. But you're getting one manager moaning about something, and Leeds could have said, "Look, we can't field a full team."
They could have said, "We've got 5 COVID. Suspected cases, and so that's enough to get the game called off," and they haven't. And that's a testament to them and Bielsa in particular, because as you say, he never made any excuses about it. He was asked about it and he still didn't want to use it as an excuse. Mm-hmm. But It all comes down to fairness, and that's all my issue is. Yes, they've got tons of players in some of those big squads of international caliber, but it's just the rules have to be the same for everyone for any competition to be fair. I can't stand them, but it is what it is.
Agree. And you know what? If this continues, it can't be fair. Arsenal have continued to play. Tottenham have had a rest, and somehow they've got themselves out of a European competition too. I mean, it's a joke, to be honest with you. It's pathetic. If that was the Champions League, do you think Tottenham are not finding a way to be competitive and playing that game? I mean, it's Malagueas, I can't even stand it. And I just can't believe they're getting away with it. They should be fined and they should be banned from Europe for a year, in my opinion. I don't care about whether or not every team is dealing with COVID. Every team is dealing with these, global issues that are so challenging across the board. And player safety and health, they're not robots. It's not Gladiator time. It's not Maximus. It's not Russell Crowe. These are human beings. And at the end of the day, they have families too. So we have to take that into consideration as well as wanting our football. So as I feel like at some point this is going to come to a head. Right. Before I get you guys out of here for your Christmas holidays, and Harry has to go hang out with. Are you babysitting tonight, Harry? Are you off?
Well, they're asleep at the moment. Hopefully it stays
out of that one. Very nice. Very nice.
I always agree to go on podcasts at bedtime. Best thing to do.
Kev, and also you're a football dad as well. Your boys out there playing, too. There's always.
Well, Kai hasn't played for a couple of weeks. Two games have been cancelled. Two of the Stoke games have been cancelled. So he's coming back and he's starting to feel like himself. And then bang bang, 2 games. Apparently, Boxing Day's cancelled as well.
Do you feel like it's going? Do you feel like Boxing Day is going to go away?
I hope not. I certainly hope not. I really do. I think, look, let's be honest. For the fans as well as the players and the football clubs, it's so important to get out. Having been at home all Christmas Day and do all your stuff, it's something to look forward to. Go and support your team. So go and support your clubs. And I just really think, I don't think football can afford it, especially after what happened last year. I don't think it could afford it. So.
All right. Well, look, 12 minutes of overtime, but it's worth it because we're going to be off air for a few days. We're hoping to be back Boxing Day after the Norwich game. If not, then we'll let you guys know what's coming next. Don't forget, Coach Beard from Ted Lasso is going to be on the show on the 27th of December. We're really excited about that, Harry. Maybe I'm trying to get like Arsenal beards. Maybe you should send me a pic of your beard, because I think Coach Beard needs a bit of rivalry, where the bearded gooner obviously is the big one, right? He can rival Coach Beard in every way. So don't forget to tune in on the 27th, Coach Beard in the house. We're looking forward to that. What is your Arsenal Christmas wish, Harry Moore?
My Arsenal Christmas wish is for 6 points against Norwich and Wolves, and then we'll look at it again.
I like it. Nice and simple. Super Kev, I have a video I'm going to play at the end of the show, but what is your Christmas wish?
My Christmas wish is for, obviously, Arsenal to win, but health. I think health is going to be key for our team, and you, Harry, the families, and all of the squaddies and their families. Health is everything. Health really is everything. And all I could say is, I wish everybody a happy and healthy Christmas and festive period, because without it, we've got nothing.
This is true. On the way out, I'm going to play a little message from Kev. Thanks to everyone. We're going to be back before the new year, and the new year will be the time where we reflect on the year in a little bit more depth and detail. But we've had some wonderful guests on this year. We are so appreciative of all the support. Harry, thank you so much for taking time away from your family ahead of the Christmas holidays. Keep doing what you're doing. We're very proud of you. Keep smashing it. Love seeing you grow and doing all the wonderful things you're doing. It's so deserved. You work so hard, and we adore you. And thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us tonight.
No, thank you guys so much. Honestly, it's so good to be on with you guys. this is a fantastic podcast. You two have got a cracking little bond going on there, and I love the way you're not afraid to go at each other as well, which is fantastic. Makes a great.
I got to watch myself with her. She's got a samurai and a bottle opener.
Casey, I'd have told you, mate. Greek women, stay away, mate. Stay away. More hassle than they're worth.
Oh, jeez.
Oh gosh, every now and again. He's a legend, so sometimes I'm like, did I just say that to Super Kev?
I got a lot of Greek friends, as you know, so I know all about it. So as you see, Harry, I keep my distance. LA to Manchester.
That's it. It's safer this way. Don't ever do it in person. It's safer.
So much safer. Well, squaddies, I have a very special message for you from Super Kev coming up. Thank you. We love you. You know how much we love you. And Newman, you're not in the house tonight, so I'm going to save your Merry Christmas art until the next show. It might be R-rated, but it wouldn't be the same if it wasn't. Kev, I'm going to play this message, and we will see everyone in a few days.
Squaddies, love ya. Have a great Christmas, at ease, and we're out after this message. God bless. Merry Christmas. So let me finish. Saluting to Sophie, the lady who makes it all happen. Salute you. Have a lovely Christmas. You, Tony, Vinny, and Vespa, take good care. All of the squaddies and everybody who listens to the Highbury Squad podcast, whether you agree, disagree, whatever, it don't matter. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I'm sure we're going to see each other, if possible, on Boxing Day after the Arsenal game, if we can. I know it's going to be pretty tight, so Sophie's going to try and organise something if we can do it. Anyway, look after yourself, squaddies. Take good care. And at ease, enjoy the festivities. Take care. Bye.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.